Hello and welcome to the inaugural episode of What's the Damage, the companion show to the incredibly well-known and popular Real Play D&D podcast, not podcast, stream, Roll for Damage. Since this is new for both you and me, I'm going to briefly explain what this whole thing is going to be, what the deal is. So every show, I will be joined by a few of the stars of Roll for Damage, and we'll be discussing the latest and greatest highlights from the last episode of Roll for Damage. We'll also be doing a deep dive on a nerdy topic every episode. Things like making a character backstory, like DMing for the first time, like home brewing monsters and items and NPCs, things like that. We'll be talking about that, and we'll also be taking viewer questions and sometimes even playing games. So it's just going to be a whole bunch of weird, wacky fun. So we're really excited to be bringing this new show to you, really excited to be able to expand our network this way. So thank you so much to all the viewers who let us get to affiliate on Twitch. Thank you to Sunbird, who composed our intro music and stream music. You can find them at avsunbird.crrd.co or in the credits for our Twitch page. And thank you to Lady Meows, that's Meows with 2 S's, who designed our logo. You can also find her in the credits for our Twitch page. So without further ado, this is What's the Damage? Welcome back. So with me today, we have Jake, who plays Oriana on Roll for Damage. We have Jay, who plays the wonderful Dobby. And we have Cory, aka Tickle, aka Tick. Which one do you prefer, Tick, Tickle, or Cory?
Whatever, it doesn't matter.
I'm gonna pick Tick.
There we go.
Because that's the shortest one. Always pick the least amount of syllables when in doubt. Who plays Sinris, the recently dead. So once dead, just hopefully just the one time. So normally in this section we just be like discussing the latest of the episodes, but since the episode before last was so intense, we're also going to be talking about that one. So in the episode before last, Sinric died very dramatically, leading to some really dramatic and intense like role play. So this is a question for everybody, and how questions work is it's going to go individually to one of you or to the group, but even if it's an individual question, you should feel free to just jump in if you have something interesting or funny or even just like dumb to say. So just really, it's a conversation. So question for everybody. Tell me a bit about role-playing right after Cindric's death, like the grief, the anger, everything. Tell me about it.
I mean, I guess I'll start. It was pretty peaceful. I was dead.
Cindric is fine.
The man, the myth, the legend, everybody.
We actually didn't get into anything that really happened while I was dead, so I mean...
Oh yeah, you want to share what the afterlife is like?
Well, so we really didn't get into much of that as of right now, so I mean, it's like, from my perspective, I was just there, not there, and then there again, just really, really hurt.
Interesting. Yeah.
But
so
I guess we'll learn more about that coming up, as opposed to, what I guess maybe some of the story plots and stuff like that. Hopefully.
Oh yeah, maybe we can finally find out what Cynric's god actually is, because I think the party was just kind of guessing based on some vaguely remembered stuff.
It was pretty obvious. I mean, I thought.
I mean, a fisherman who prides himself on his strength, kind of only really one or two options there. And
yeah, exactly.
Hey, don't put him in a box, okay?
I'm not putting him in a box.
He could fuck with Melora or Loth or anybody, okay? Don't.
I mean, Melora was one of the one or two, but yeah.
Nobody puts Cynric in a box.
I don't think there's a big enough box.
I'll go next, I guess. I'm sure Jay's going to say that Dobby, RPing Dobby, was a lot of sadness since their characters were really connected. But for Oriana, too, like, that hit home because she decided in that moment, somebody else can get to him. I need to stop them from attacking him. And because she made that choice, he ended up dying. So she blamed herself entirely for that. She could have saved him, but chose the wrong thing to do to save him.
Yeah, I think we saw a lot of that guilt in your role playing and in Oriana's behavior right afterwards. There's a lot of, I should have done this and I should have done that.
No, that was the first real, like, powerful emotional moment for Oriana so far in the campaign, and I think I was pretty truthful to the character in how she reacted, just numb almost. And then once she kind of had time to cope with the fact that it happened, she just was like, "What did I do? I should have done this. Oh my god!" And she started overthinking.
Yeah. We're thinking for Ori.
From what I think, like, especially during that session with Dobby, we've only really just seen, arrogant asshole and, just self-destructive jerk. I feel in this, section in this conflict, especially with like Cynric going down, the audience really gets to see kind of the deeper layers, that, Dobby's an asshole, but he's an asshole that's an onion. And he can have some joy, and he can have a lot of grief, and in Dobby's sense, he's experienced a lot more grief that I think really some people in this party, and I'm gonna keep a tight lip on it now, but he's talked with Ball and a little bit with Cynric, but it's something that's scarred him for life and has made him this person that everyone interacts now. It's a slow reveal evolution that I hope everyone enjoys. More down the line when we start doing more sessions.
Character development.
Yes.
Yeah. And can I just say, like, when Dobby was like crouching over Cynric, like shaking him, being like, "Get up, you fat fuck," that was like, ooh, shivers. For some reason, I just loved that, like, insulting him, even as Dobby is like on the verge of tears. Probably you didn't actually say that, but I imagine this is how I visualize it.
No, that's how it is. I internally, I was having like a conflict because it was just like the moment Cynric went down, I was like, oh shit, I felt like I was embodying Dobby at that moment, and I was about to scream like, no, in his voice, because that's just what he would do in that type of situation, And I also agree, just insulting Sinric because,
It's so Dobby.
Yeah, it's so Dobby,
really
man.
on brand. Very on brand.
Yeah. Especially with Sinric, because I guess like Sinric can take his insults without barbing back because that's just the type of person Sinric is. He's a really, most people, who would probably meet him just think he's just a simple person that just enjoys fishing and other shit. But Sinric is a very, caring individual who has his own fucking problems and tries to deal with them personally. And he knows that no one's fucking perfect, especially for Dobby. And I feel like that he's able to take Dobby's shit like a lot more than anyone else could. And that's why Dobby has this really deep connection with Sinric, since he's really been the only person that he hasn't been able to push away.
I think that might just be because we play older characters.
Yeah, probably.
Push back that, I don't want to say angst, but innocence and youngness that was dealt with off, campaign.
The youngins. Yeah.
No, yeah.
So, I'm sorry.
No, you go.
Yeah. Without getting into spoilers, like, how deep does the connection between Sinric and Dobby go? Like, how long? Did we ever find this in canon? How long have they been partners? Like,
going into backstory can talk about that, but it hasn't really come up in campaign.
Yeah.
I'll bring it up if it hasn't come up yet.
In canon, Dobby and Sinric originally met each other when they were a lot younger. They were, there were different people back then, because they were younger, but they were also kind of, pretty much the same. But well, especially Dobby now, he's kind of almost exactly the same person. Sinric is the one who's clearly evolved in this sense, and that's just the type of character he is. But they started out on rocky road, and then they came to this really understanding, and then they kind of just dissected, each one living their own life, and then through happens chance, that is the worlds of D&D, connections reform, and they were brought together again, and they've worked together ever since.
State. Yeah. So were you guys confident that you were going to be able to bring Sinric back, or did you think Tick would be rolling a new character? Be honest.
I already had a character rolled. Well, it was like 75% done by the end of the episode.
Yeah, dude.
I had a feeling we would definitely get a chance. Yeah. I did not know if that chance would be successful.
Yeah, no, that's just how Serenity as a DM, rolls, does her interactions. She allows people to succeed, but also to fuck up very badly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As evidenced by me dying.
Yeah.
As we've all experienced.
Yeah. She holds no punches. And that's what makes, the stakes really for real. I personally thought that, if we did fuck up, Sinric would be gone, and Dobby would spiral into a fucked up mess. It was going to be bad RP wise.
Who could he push away first?
Yeah.
Oh, everybody, I assume. Just one fell swoop.
Yeah. He's like, fuck all of you, okay?
That would have been entertaining but party breaking to see. Yeah. So moving on from the big death. The last episode wasn't quite as intense. You guys got to go to a fair and play some games, and it was fun. How disappointed are you all that you did not do the What's That Smell game?
More disappointed that we didn't manage to win anything. We lost every game we played, and that was probably the only one we could have won.
I mean, I failed at drinking. I mean, really.
You were at -5.
You were dead. You were recently dead.
Yeah, you had a -4? Yeah.
Yep.
Come on, man. That's bad. I felt really shitty. I mean, I thought the race, I could stack the odds in my favor, man. But like always, it did not work. Okay, and I lost a lot of fucking money.
Rip Dobby's wallet.
Yeah, dude. That coin purse is really light now.
Yeah. Okay. So question for Jake. It's become a bit of a running joke now that Oriana is the world's worst bard. So what's your dice's damage exactly?
I blame Roll20. I fully blame Roll20. Before I was a part of this group, and really the whole like group of friends. I remember playing in a different Roll20 campaign. I maybe rolled in one night 50 rolls. I think I rolled on the die above 10 twice in that entire night. I am not kidding you with that. Like almost 50 rolls, probably 2 rolls that were 10 or higher. And it was just, it's Roll20. I hate it. It gets on my nerves all the time, but I still go back because,
addicted,
Yeah, I gotta get that Roll20, man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you need that fix. You need that fix.
No, it's honestly, it's one of the reasons I chose to play a bard for this. Because I figured my stats will be so good as a bard. I'll be good at everything. And I
Doesn't
still
matter
just...
if you roll a 3, yeah.
I roll a 2 or a 3 on everything I'm good at. Doesn't matter. I've got a +9, roll a 2.
Awesome. So how is like bombing so much affecting Oriana in character?
It's not really affecting her that much. It's frustrating to her in the moment, but that's why she goes to those quiet moments like in the cart where she's playing, or like during when everybody's getting camp set up, because when she plays there, she's playing her normal, to the best of her ability. I would say it's almost giving her performance anxiety, pun kind of intended there. But I don't think it's going to affect her too much, because she would just see it as like, oh, well, I didn't tune it right, or, maybe I shouldn't have sang that song.
Proud.
Yeah, she's... well, I wouldn't say that it's pride necessarily. It's more she knows she can do better, and she doesn't let that get in the way of a bad performance.
So she's managing to maintain her confidence through all this.
Yeah. It's going to take a lot more than just, a tavern karaoke game to shake her as a performer.
We'll see how the campaign goes. Yeah, so Jay, whose butt exactly was Dobby hoping to melt?
Really, 100%, and outside of the sessions, everyone was laughing about it. It was just a figurative butt. Okay, he was just wanting to know how many drops it would take for someone to have their insides, plop out of the melted butt, It's just a question,
So you didn't
man.
have anyone in particular.
I was really hurt
mind?
that she wouldn't sell the Dobby afterwards. I was like, well, this is different than Dash, okay?
Oh yeah, how dare she?
Yeah, okay, Dash, okay, you just got coins, okay, and then they just give you the shit and you're good, and here it's like, and Dobby, since because he doesn't really understand, like he doesn't respect the gods, so it's kind of like a joke to him. So a city that's surrounded by gods is like, oh, it's like a double front, like there's some seedy shit going down here, and he's just trying his hardest just to find that like the just black market here, or just somewhere that's a shady individual, but everyone's just like, no, this is the city of, where the gods, like, what the fuck are you talking about, you blasphemous piece of shit. And I was like, oh, okay.
You come across that one guy with the accent who was like straight out of small town Texas.
Amazing. Yeah, the guy, the jewelry guy. Oh yeah, man.
Mr. Preacher Man.
And he's like, why did you to Ball? He's like, you blasphemous soul. What have you done to this individual? And then I'm just like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm from Dash. This is regular. And he's like, hey, you're talking to my friend because he's blue? You don't like my friend because he's blue? And it's that other sense, like, Dobby, like, he might be old as shit, but like there's just some like hints he doesn't, like connect, because his wisdom is so average. Because technically, he is a monk, but I did make wisdom his dumb stat for RP reasons, as well as accidentally. I didn't mean to, because I for a moment in my mind I forgot
by accident. Then you went with it.
Yeah, that like monks, you need the wisdoms. But then I was just like, oh fuck, I forgot, because it's all really like 13s and there's like one 18. And I was like, oh, okay. Then I'm playing this guy, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's a monk, but he's not like your average monk. He does
this
things
one's
kind
stupid.
of, yeah, he's not stupid. He's always thinking, but since his wisdom is not as high as it should be, he's always getting himself into situations that kind of lead to him shanking people in the ass.
Like you do. It happens. It happens, man.
I like to think that Dobby was that student at the monk temple who just got kicked out for being too impatient and wanting to like be the best thing ever. So he just was like, "Screw you! I'm gonna go make my own.
I'm gonna live my own life,
but my own temple with blackjack and hookers, literally."
So a casino.
Yeah, casino.
Amazing. Yeah, this is Dobby's whole character arc. Spoilers.
Yeah,
gonna open a casino.
Yeah. Well, a casino, tavern, and grill. Don't forget that. Dobby's house of debauchery and cuisine. Okay. It's in his dream.
Dobby's bistro.
Is there a house of special lady favors attached next door?
No, it's debauchery. Debauchery and cuisine. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Come on, man. Come on.
I assume all the food is served on naked people?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay,
naked ladies, good. Naked men,
Naked whatever.
Yeah, naked whatever, man. This Dobby doesn't care, man. Fuck who you want to fuck.
What's the health code rating?
Oh no, it's bad.
Bad.
It's bad.
I'll pass.
It's the medieval ages, man. Okay. There's there's not everyone can shower. You know what I mean? Oh.
Well, if on that note, we're going to move into our main topic, which is character voices. We love them, we hate them, we forget to do them halfway through the stream. It's great. So, my first question for everybody, once I find it, is how, and this is like not necessarily just, you should focus on your characters from the stream, but kind of just a broad question for all your characters across all your games ever in general. How does your backstory for your character like tie into what voice you choose for them? Do you take it into account? Do you just pick a random voice and like retroactively be like, oh yeah, this is why this accent makes sense for this person from this small island. This is why they sound like they're from Texas. That one's Texas.
In my sense, yeah, there's always pieces. Like whenever I do a character, especially with backstory, it's always kind of an evolutionary standpoint. Like you have just a base foundation, and you kind of just build upon it. I usually, like anyone pull, any media that you can kind of get your hands on. I actually based kind of one of the real building blocks of Dobby's backstory on a book trilogy that I loved, which is the Night Angel series. Very good book, audiobook. If you don't like to read, there's also a graphic novel too. Very, very good series. And but you always need to add that kind of personal flavor, just so it kind of you get yourself into this mindset that this character is always like a fraction of you. You're not going into the character because the character is always a section of you. So from what I usually always kind of connect a piece of like past trauma to my character that I've personally went through. So then the transition into that character is nearly seamless. And you start really thinking like in that character's mindset, and just outside media starts kind of sucking in. Because if anyone hasn't connected, Dobby's voice is really kind of like Danny DeVito, if probably he was younger and had more anger issues. Just
Danny
a little bit of Bruce
Man.
Willis in there, just a little bit,
Yeah, that's some real like acting theory shit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Depth.
I mean, when I pick an accent, it usually just kind of depends on the character. Some characters just sound like that to me. Other characters, I think about, okay, well, what would make sense for this character? Like a low wisdom character might sound like more unintelligent, and maybe not even so much of just doing the accent, of just using like shorter words. It really depends, honestly, to me. Like, there's a couple of different ways that I do it, and sometimes it's just a feeling.
You go with the flow. Whatever says in your heart, you're like, yes, German.
I mean, I guess to give you an example, I play a moon druid in a Strahd campaign, and she just comes off as like this.
I also play in the Strahd campaign.
Yeah, I know. And she just comes off as this hoity-toity kind of person, because her wisdom is so high. She feels like she's just lived longer. She understands the world better, and that kind of reflects in her voice as a little bit more of a posh, slightly British. Not too thick on the accent, though. I try not to go too thick, because then I start slipping into Cockney.
And, that's a good time.
Yeah.
That's interesting, though. So you pay attention to the cadence of your character too, like the kind of word choice they'd use, things like that.
Yeah, I definitely try to. I tend to get very invested in a character once I make it, and I've had games where I've played a character and the character got mad, and at the end of the session, I was just like pissed off for some reason. I'm like, why am I mad? Oh, because my character's mad. Oh.
You got to be invested.
You do got to be invested.
It's no fun.
Yeah. Huh.
I mean, accents can kind of be hard. I mean, none of us are voice actors by trade, but I think more than just accents would also be like the personality of what your character is. I mean, are they someone that is literally not intelligent? Are they someone that, prides themselves maybe on strength? They might emphasize certain words or syllable. Are they someone, in my case, a little bit older that speaks with a little bit more calmer, soft-spoken demeanor? There's more than just accents rather than how you present words. Because I just have a bad time with accents, and I'll say up front, I can't do the accent that I should for the character. But yeah, it is what it is.
What would be the accent that you do if you could?
I don't know if I can actually say that. Yeah, I know I talked briefly with Serenity about like backstory reasons in like language and dialect from where we're from, but yeah, it's just for me that when it does come up, it's just particularly hard.
Okay, yeah, and you use your natural accent for your character in the campaign. So, and that's also a valid thing. I want to emphasize to everybody: you can use your natural voice. You don't gotta do accents; it's fine. Yeah. But what do you do exactly to differentiate between your character voice and your out of character voice, because you don't do an accent and because it might be not as obvious a switch between the two characters?
Slow down.
Slow down?
Especially for this character, slow down. When I get excited about things, I talk 50 miles a minute. Even when I'm not that excited, I tend to talk a little bit quicker than normal. I also tend to not talk like in full words, say like random crap and stuff like that. But as far as being a character that, playing a character that's a little bit older, you try to think before you speak, and maybe, put emphasis where, things need to be in certain words to kind of convey your point. Like what I was trying to do even with Laura talking about the whole anger situation. It's not necessarily about speaking in a strong accent, but rather, speaking true and putting emphasis where it needs to.
Yeah. Personally, I pick accents based on what I think I can pull off for 3 hours and what I think is funny. So not quite as deep as everyone else. So
that's a part of D&D, though. I mean, you got to have fun first and foremost. And
you got it.
Yeah, if you're not having fun doing a silly accent for 4 hours at a time, then why are you doing it?
Yeah, it's just murder on your throat.
Right?
Yep. There's no rule that determines, RP has to be in character voice or, your own voice or anything else.
It can really be anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like for new players, would you guys, I'm sort of like jumping off the silliness of it all, do you have any advice for like getting over the inherent ridiculousness of talking in somebody else's voice for a few hours in front of your friends?
Yeah.
Don't look at yourself on camera.
Oh yeah, dude, just do it like regularly,
Yeah.
like in a conversation, man. I remember personally for me, I do different voices anytime I get like an unknown call, and I just talk to that person in the voice that I think I do. So I could just do like a regular Romanian accent and talk to him like this over phone. Yes. And it's just, you know, you incorporate the practice in and out throughout the day, and then it just becomes like second nature. That's what I, you know, saw, you know, with you know, kind of a Q&A with, you know, a voice actor one time. It was really cool.
Jay had no idea you're a professional actor. Did not know until right now.
I'm not, please.
Professional actor, ladies and gentlemen.
It definitely does help to kind of work through and overcome insecurities, especially if you can't, you know, speak publicly, or, you know, even if you have trouble, you know, just kind of being yourself around other people. It does help just, you know, join like a game, and no one's going to see you. No one's going to judge you. Just be whatever you want to be. I mean,
yeah. And to also add, yeah, if you have difficulties kind of, you know, kind of getting into the accent or the voice, it always helps with some form when you're first starting, just a trigger. You know, for me mentally, I always like the phrase "yo yo yo." You know, that always kind of
to get you into it.
Yeah, into the mindset of Dobby Pons. But it can be anything that's vocal, or, you know, a mental image, or even like, you know, you could do a click or some kind of hand motion to kind of get you into the headspace. And then it's an easier transition to transfer from player to player character if you're having difficulties kind of going into the voice.
Yeah, honestly, that's what I do for all my characters with accents. I will have like a phrase that I say that I know I can say in that accent very well, and then I'll just keep going from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell you Oriana's right now. I think we should be moving on.
I think we should be moving on.
Yes.
I like it. Yeah. So, Jake, were you always really comfortable doing accents, or did you have to like work into it when you started role playing?
When I was really young, I was really good at doing like the offensive stereotype accent. And as I've kind of grown up, I've shied away from that because, you know, I mean, they're kind of stereotype. They're kind of not okay in a way. So I kind of had to find new ways to really think about accents. Also, I haven't really done accents since I was like in grade school, probably. So with Oriana, I just I went and found videos of real people who have the accent speaking English, just to hear what it sounds like. Even looked up some like, I guess you could call them guides, you know, with like, oh, this sounds like this, and
yeah, for the cadences and everything.
Yeah, for the cadences, and it really helped. I was still kind of nervous about it on that very first night, especially because Chad uses an Irish type accent, which I tend to slip into very easily, probably due to my Irish heritage. But
just how your tongue works.
Yo, tongue control. People don't know, but tongue control is a main factor for accents, man.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so bad at them, because I can't enunciate.
Yeah, I tried speaking different phrases. I tried, you know, just taking random bits of words and speaking in the accent until I felt comfortable in it.
Nice. Kind of jumping off of that, what's everybody's like best tips for learning a new accent?
Practice.
Yeah, or just listen. Yeah, just how Jake said, literally.
Yeah, what I just said.
Immerse yourself in the voice. You know, I watched a lot of Doctor Who to get a British accent. You know, you don't force it on yourself, but you just, after like the 50th episode, you're like, oh shit, man, this is crazy. Yeah. You know, you're like, oh snap. What accent did I just get into?
Oh no, now I'm gonna talk like this forever.
Oh man. You know, it's funny.
Yeah. So what's like everybody's favorite go-to accents that they do or have done for several characters, if you have any?
Well, let's see.
Favorite?
Recently, this is only my third character, but my favorite is that like nasally kind of pitchy, kind of identifies someone a little bit younger and maybe less wise or maybe less intelligent, not wise, but definitely innocence. Just because it's easier.
It's up there in the nose.
I
yeah,
think...
exactly. So you just kind of, speak a little and you're a little uncertain of what you're saying. And yeah.
You sound like a nerd.
Exactly. I mean, it's not that bad.
I mean, my favorite to do as a DM is the little old lady. Oh, hello, dears. How are you today? But I think my favorite as a character, probably the one I go to the most. I don't even know if I call it my favorite. Just the one I go to the most is kind of that sort of light British. It's relatively easy for me to do. It's relatively, not the right word, but generic enough that I could use it for different characters, and it doesn't sound like I'm just doing the same voice. You just change some inflection here and there, and you sound like you're from a different area of the country, which is enough to sound like a completely different character.
Good enough.
Mine would, be more of a British accent, but instead of, posh, I do way off the spectrum where it's more, gravelly in your voice when you're really straining the tongue against the throat. It hurts. So then you have to stop because it's painful.
Can you do a Glasgow accent?
Oh, Glasgow. Who's that?
Honestly, I could not tell you what it sounds like. I can't describe it to you, but it's so distinctive.
I'd have to hear it for a while. I mean, I can pick up stuff pretty easily. I mean, literally the Romanian that I do for my character Morden, it just like came to me one day. I didn't even listen to anything that was even close to that voice, but it just happened like this, and I would talk for character like this, and I was just like, oh, this is the perfect voice, man. It just comes to you in that moment, and everything just clicks. I love that.
There is kind of that magic when you have something planned and then it just something clicks into place and it's like, yes, this is the character, despite everything I've been working on, and there's hours wasted, but yes, this is what needs to be done.
Yeah, honestly, finding your character voice is just so satisfying.
Yeah, and uncommonly, what people think, you always stick with the same voice you started out with character. Nah, man, that's a common misconception. People are always evolving with their character voices, and you might think something that might work for that character, works one day, but it might not down the line. Don't be afraid to mix it up occasionally.
Yeah, I mean, people's accents change in real life, so it doesn't not make sense that over the course of a campaign, that your character's voice, cadence, accent, whatever, would shift a little bit. Yeah. So, I guess the moral of the story is don't worry about it.
Don't
worry about it.
Just have fun with it.
It's okay. It's just D&D.
Everyone's being silly with everyone, so I mean, no reason to be self-conscious. Just there's something have fun.
So inherently ridiculous about D&D, which obviously keeps us all coming back. But you can do anything and not be embarrassed. It's great.
Yeah, true. And it's crazy. Just like D&D, like as it just boomed in this like generation. Because I remember when I first started out like playing D&D in like high school, and I'd try to explain it to friends, and they'd just be like, the fuck are you? What? And I'm like, no, it's imaginary, but you can have little miniature characters and terrain, man. Okay, and you got a character sheet and there's numbers, and I feel like just D&D is just a trick for you to get good at math. Quick mental math.
I'm still not good at mental math, you guys.
It's a break from reality.
I have not been tricked.
Okay.
I mean, that's the good thing about Roll20. It does the math for you.
It does the math for you. And I have a little dice rolling app on my phone.
Yeah.
That's great.
And the applications for this have made it more streamlined. And I feel like, that's just made it for easier, just for new people like, myself at that time to get into it, because when you're just holding a piece of paper in your hands and it's just blank and then you got a couple rule books in front of you, you're like, okay, cool.
Well, online platforms definitely made it more accessible to everyone else as well, which is a good thing because, I mean, like us, we're not in the same room. How often will we even be in the same room to play a game? But yet here we are once a week doing it on stream from our own living rooms. So
that's pretty great.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm coming live to you from my kitchen counter.
Well, I'm technically in my bedroom, but still.
But you know what I mean.
It's the premise. It's the premise.
Yeah. Serena's the only one of any of y'all that I've actually met in real life. So it's pretty great.
I'm pretty sure no one's coming here, so I'm safe.
Amazing. I had another question, but I think we kind of answered it a little bit. But I mean, we touched on this when we were talking about Tick's voice and cadence and all that. But if you think you can't do voices, what should you do?
Try anyways. I mean, sometimes you'll be surprised what you can do and what you find would fit a character. I originally wanted to have some type of accent, but when I, just jumped into first session, it was more effective just to speak softly and slowly as opposed to trying to use an accent. So, I mean, if you feel you can't do something, try it anyways. You might like it, you might not. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you might not even use it, but you never know until you try.
Experimentation.
Exactly.
I definitely say I agree with that, and I would also add on to it. I just do it what you're comfortable with. I mean, you don't have to do a voice. You never have to do anything you don't want to do. I've played with people who, talk in their regular voice, and it's just that. I've had people who go super in depth, create like this whole second personality within themselves, and play through that personality. I mean, it's what you want to do. If you don't think you can do voices and you want to do voices, just do what you're comfortable with, and gradually kind of push yourself to do a little bit more and see how good you get.
With as many nerdy people are that play D&D, I'm sure a lot of people are willing to take a couple hours out of their day to even help and, give pointers and tips. I mean, it's just a matter of maybe asking, say, hey, can I sit down with someone and work on something if it's something you really do want to pursue? But I would say definitely not required.
Yeah.
Not required, but fun.
Yeah, exactly.
No gatekeepers.
No gatekeepers, ever. No. Yeah. So like in that instance, after you have your character voice down, like you've decided what you're gonna do, you're like, yes, this is perfect. Do you find that like the dialogue comes naturally after you begin speaking your character voice? Does it become easier to think of like what your character would say in this moment, or does that just come naturally anyway?
I think that just comes with getting to know your character. I mean, I can tell you right now, when we did pre-stream stuff for Oriana, and I was trying to figure out the accent still, I was trying to do all this. I actually had things written down that I felt like the character would say. And over time, I've stopped writing things down because I can sort of just slip into that mindset of, well, I'm Oriana, what would Oriana do?
Mm-hmm.
What helps me is the kind of dialogue back and forth between my character and another character. An example, Laura. Anytime I'm I'm in an argument with one of Laura's character, I feel like I really embody my character, especially with Dobby and the session before last session, and that whole kind of building up argument between them to where the point where it finally became physical and just exploded, and then just kind of the aftermath of that you really, it's really special when you can really get into character. And just like Jake said, like after the whole session, you're just like angry and it's like, ah, like why the fuck did she say that? And I'm just like, oh wait, what the? Why am I angry? Like it was just she's a friend of mine. Like why am I trying to stab her in the face?
It's okay. You couldn't reach your face, so it's
exactly. Perfect. I couldn't reach your face anyway.
In real life either.
Stab.
I see. I can say that because of your size.
Yeah, no. We're both short as shit. Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking before the stream about how short all these gentlemen are. Yeah. How very tiny. It's amazing.
See, I kind of like the idea, not necessarily maybe having like history with another character, because it allows you to have an anchor, someone that you could talk to in character, and just kind of be like a focus rather than there's a lot of pressure, when meeting people, even in real life, as far as talking to people in real life, and you kind of have that same pressure when you're meeting the party and getting to know the party. So if you have kind of like an anchor, it does help to alleviate a lot of, what goes on.
Yeah, it cuts like introduction time like nearly in half, and then you come immediately out of the bat with a connection with one character. And anytime I try to run a game with any kind of new individuals, I kind of especially if I'm running with like 6, I kind of each like allow them to split off into like 2 groups to themselves, and like, hey, think of if you guys have come together at one point, when did you guys come together? What type of history do you have? Do you like each other? Do you hate each other? And that just adds a built-in dynamic when they're building the dynamic of the party. And so it's good.
It gives you some room for story later on, but
yeah, exactly.
Even in the beginning, it gives you someone to feel comfortable around when you're, trying to build that accent and build that character personality.
Buddy built in. So I've got a question for people who have run games. I assume that's everybody. No? Okay, everybody.
Not run a game.
Everybody except for Tick. Tick can chime in if he wants to. So when it comes to creating NPC voices, like how do you pick which NPCs are going to have distinctive voices? I assume that it's the most important ones. It's what I've always done. But like, how do you decide on their voice? Is it the same kind of process as coming up with a character voice, or is it different?
For me, if it's a NPC that the party is going to be interacting with on a consistent basis, yes, it's the same as developing a character. That NPC is just as much a character as any of the PCs, in my opinion, and I have to fully flesh out that idea. If it's just Joe Schmo, the bartender that they're ordering drinks from, and I plan on them never seeing this character again, I usually just kind of come up with like a couple of adjectives to describe the character and base the accent as loosely on that as I can.
Randall.
I'd like to disagree, because especially Randall. You guys know Randall. Well, we have like 2 different Randalls in 2 different campaigns. But the Randall in this campaign, from what I remember from what Serenity said, I think that she planned on his voice, but there was another Randall who was just this what was he? He wasn't a behemoth. He was a
beholder.
Beholder. There you go. He was beholder, and you think like, oh shit, we're gonna die. He's like, oh hey guys,
he's so nice.
What's going on? Oh, my name's Randall. Can I help you guys? No, I just want my planes to grow. No, I don't like
it wasn't his voice at all.
That was not his voice. His bioluminescent moss.
Yeah. But yeah, no. For me, I personally like the randomness of a character. Like I will start out, if it's just a random EPC, I'll start out with a voice, and then while the game, and I'll just have it random. And then depending on like if I'm really digging that character or like their influence to the party, I'll work on it a little bit afterwards. I'll usually like record myself and see like where it's going, and then kind of incorporate the notes if I ever do make some of that character. And then I'll just kind of wrap it in a bow, and then that just becomes the voice if there's more interactions.
Nice.
I will say, from a player's perspective, some of the more don't take yourself seriously approaches tend to be a lot more memorable. Again, such as like even our surfer Randall bartender, in this campaign. But even, mentioning some of the more popular shows, like even Critical Role doing stuff like Pumat Soul, and even the guy they were buying powder from, it's the more, animated, and I don't want to say silly, but the more you let yourself go into a character, it just creates a more memorable experience.
Uninhibited, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's this snowball effect.
To clarify, when I'm talking about random NPCs or something, I'm like talking like, oh, they went somewhere I literally don't have notes for.
It's a bartender.
Yeah, exactly.
But if it's like a shopkeeper that I think you guys are going to come back to, I would probably have a baseline. And there have been characters I've created where I didn't really intend anyone to, like, I didn't intend an NPC to be a major character in this world that interacts with the party. And then the party is just like, no, that's our best friend. We want to see more of them. And I'm like,
yeah, it's always that one character, like the goblin or the kobold or just the random dude, and they're like, no, he's coming with us, and you're just like, no, he's not coming with you. And then then you have this whole story beat. You have to make this whole story beat set out with this character, and usually how I do it, I character self-sacrifice. So it,
mean.
so that the party has some form of motivation. You're like, oh man, Jackson.
So you fridge these poor NPCs for the PC development.
Well, 40%.
Tell me I'm wrong.
40% of them. The other 60%.
I mean,
it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I would totally kill an NPC if that like.
Oh yeah.
Drove character development and character story. I have no qualms killing an NPC.
Or if it's fun. Yeah.
These people murder NPCs. Drop of a hat. My God, let me tell you, I have locked myself into the dumbest and hardest voices for characters that I didn't think were going to be big, then sort of just spiraled before. I've suffered. You guys, I have suffered. And we're going to move on to viewer questions now. We have only one this time. So for Jake, Oriana has a German accent, but Germany doesn't exist. Open-ended.
Yeah. I'll say this much because I don't want to give away any secrets that haven't been revealed in the campaign. When I was coming up with Oriana's voice, I didn't really have an accent yet. I knew that she was going to be more well-read and sort of on the intelligence side. I mean, it's her second highest stat, I think. So I wanted to have something that sounded very erudite. But when I asked Serenity the region that Oriana was from, what kind of accents would be there, what kind of real world culture would be comparative, and she gave me, I think, a list of 2 or 3 different accents. One was Czech, which I looked into that and had no idea how to do that.
European.
Yeah, the examples I had were not the best, and then the other was potentially German, and I was like, oh, well, that's a little.
I can do that
easier.
one.
So it literally was just that's the region she's from. If that's the cultural influence, that's the accent I'll use.
Neato. Okay. We have just enough time left to play a short game, which I have designed for you guys. I wanted to play this game called Utter Nonsense, which is hilarious. You pick an accent and you pick a phrase and you say the phrase in the accent. But I couldn't, due to COVID reasons, I could not source a copy of this game in time for this stream. So I made a mock-up of it with D&D related phrases. So starting with, who wants to go first?
Nose guys.
Jake goes first. It's reversed. Okay, Jake. Okay. Roll for me 2d20s. Don't add them together. Just tell me the 2 numbers.
2d20s. Oh boy, I didn't know I was going to need dice today.
You always need dice. You gotta have your dice ready.
2d20s.
Drop of the hat.
Sorry, 2d20s, and I'm telling you the total.
Not the total, just the separate.
The 2 numbers.
Okay, I got an 8 and a 1. Fits.
Okay. Amazing. Okay. So I'm going to post the phrase you're going to use in the Discord.
Okay.
And you're going to be saying this in a Cockney accent.
Oh, boy.
Oh, that's going to be hilarious as fuck.
There we go.
Go.
Oh, boy, in Cockney, eh? I wear two pairs of pants while golfing in case I get a hole in one.
Perfect. That was not D&D related. I sourced some of these from like Minions memes. Okay, Tick, your turn. Roll me 2d20s, please.
Oh, good lord. Oh, really? So that would be a 1 and a 3.
A 1 and a 3. Amazing. Okay,
Much like our real rolls in game.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the dice gods.
Okay, I'm going to send you
First
a phrase.
Of ones.
You're going to say this in a Texan accent.
Well, I reckon rogues do it from behind.
They sure do. Jay,
More.
your turn.
Okay. Okay. That is a 9. And that is an 8. Yep.
Okay. Okay, you are going to say this in a Canadian accent. Not Serenity's very thick Canadian accent.
Oh, well, hello there. Why do rogues prefer leather armor for stealth? Because it's made of hide. I can't do it. Okay.
You tried your best.
I tried to do it.
It started there, but you kind of went a little Scottish.
Yeah, but like, well, hello there. But then that just went Irish. It's
yeah, you start around Wisconsin, then you sort of like moseyed on over to Ireland. Amazing. Okay, well, D&D is all about doing it anyway. Okay, back to Jake. Roll me 2d20s.
That's a 15.
Lovely.
And a 13.
15. You are going to say this in a Transylvanian accent.
Oh, Transylvanian. Oh,
make it like Dracula.
Blah, blah, blah.
If the DM is smiling, it's already too late.
Amazing.
No truer words to be spoken.
I hope Straw talks like that.
That would be awesome.
Oh, I'm not running that game.
Chad. Okay, Tick, your turn.
I'm going to try the purple and the green dice because they don't give me bad numbers.
Ooh.
I lied. That's an 8 and a 3.
I mean, all numbers are equally bad. Roll the first one again. We already did Cockney.
Is that a... Okay, yeah, that's a 20. That's a 9.
Okay. Oh, we already did Canadian too. I'm just going to pick one for you.
Preferably one I actually know what it is.
You are going to say one. You're going to say this in a French accent.
Oh my god.
Oh, good god. I don't even want to say that. How would I even talk in a French accent? The funny part is I'm actually part French.
Oh, really?
Exactly. I know how to say baguette.
There you go. There's your trigger word.
Baguette.
Good lord. This is hard.
Also, I'm being told, make the host play or we riot.
I will do the next one. I will do the next one. You guys have to roll for me, though.
Gotcha.
All right.
How would I even do a French accent?
Oui, monsieur.
Yeah, I can see words.
Monsieur. Okay, just say those words all in a row.
Come on, man.
I'm trying. I just can't get the accent.
I will do this one if you want.
I can do like, monsieur, stuff like that. But good lord. Now I'm sad.
Oh my God.
You can do it, man. You can do it.
You can do it. You can do it. We're running out of time. Okay, fine. I will do this one. Oui, I am a gamer. No, I won't sleep with you. Oh, that's actually all our time, guys.
Oh.
Thank you so much, everyone, for watching this stream. Tune back in next week on Tuesday and tune in on Friday for Roll for Damage. We're going to be doing this every week. It's going to be great. There'll be new games, new questions, new hot topic. Not the store, the nerdy topic next week too. So I hope to see you then. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for getting us to affiliate. We love you. Bye.